The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Hands down, that was the best line of the night, a magical night, an epic night where President Trump astounded the nation with a historic ultra-MAGA America First speech to a joint session of Congress. Take a look at the cover of this morning's New York Post. Reborn in the USA. Trump touts successes in rousing speech to Congress, says the best is yet to come. Clay Travis called it the best speech of Trump's career. Just a phenomenal litany of common sense and rational leadership. Great and heartwarming guests. It was a grand slam. And the American electorate clearly agrees. Feast your eyes on this. If you're watching by way of our 20 million podcast downloads, this is a CBS poll taken immediately after Trump's speech. Look at these numbers. 76% of those who watched the speech approved. Only 23%, 23 miserable, dithering percent disapproved. 76% approval. That's not a super majority. That is a super duper majority. We're going to have to technicalize that term. A super majority does not come close to describing this. This is a super duper majority. Even CNN, the most distrusted name in fake news, posted similar numbers, giving President Trump a 69% approval. Trump and MAGA have clearly tapped into the new utterly massive consensus among the American electorate. And did you see this? His tie. Take a look at his tie. What color is it? It was purple. Purple, gang. The combination of blue and red. So Trump is brilliantly attuned to symbolism. And again, we've talked about this new supermajority forming as the result of the political realignment away from a horizontal divide, a political divide between left versus right, and now more around a vertical divide, a divide between the people versus the permanent political class, the ruled versus the rulers. And Trump emblemized that political realignment with that wonderful purple tie. Elon Musk tweeted out, after tonight, I'm increasingly convinced that we can get to 60 senators, and that's the key. If MAGA really is tapping into a new supermajority, then 60 senators is absolutely doable. The Cook Political Report is projecting 53 GOP Senate seats for the 2026 midterms with two toss-ups, Georgia and Michigan, both states that went for Trump. If we can flip those, that's 55 seats, and there's no reason why we can't find a handful more to flip given that kind of massive popularity for Trump and the MAGA agenda. It was undeniably an epic and astonishing speech. Here is Brit Hume of Fox News.
I also think it may have been the most effective. I mean, if you ever doubted that Donald Trump is the colossus, the political colossus of our time and our nation, this night and this speech should have put that to rest. The Democrats seem to be falling into trap after trap after trap as he recognized these people and celebrated the people he pointed to in the gallery and their stories while the Democrats sat glumly on their hands through all of that. It was a terrible look. Al Green's attempt to disrupt the speech was a bad look for the Democrats. This was I think, politically speaking, this was pretty powerful stuff, as powerful as I think I've heard.
Gang, the world is more uncertain than ever, and the way we understand it depends on the news we consume. With competing agendas, algorithm-driven echo chambers, and hidden biases shaping our perception, it's crucial to have the right tools to cut through all the noise. That's why I rely on Ground News. It's a website and app that gathers stories from over 50,000 news sources worldwide, letting you compare coverage across the political spectrum and highlighting stories one side might be ignoring. See for yourself at ground.news/Steve. My favorite feature of Ground News is the blind spot feed. It shows you stories that are disproportionately reported by either the left or the right. I find it really helpful for gaining a balanced perspective in our hyperpolarized world. So, for example, here's a recent story that has no coverage on the right. Elon Musk calls Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time as calls mount to remove contribution caps for billionaires. And here's a story that's mostly ignored by left-leaning outlets. Honda to produce next Civic in Indiana, not Mexico, due to U.S. tariffs. For both of these and for every story, Ground News gives you a breakdown of the sources covering it, the bias of the media outlets reporting across the left, center, and right, how reliable these sources have been in the past, and who owns them. It's the kind of news analysis you won't find anywhere else. Right now, my viewers can get 40% off the Unlimited Access Vantage plan, which is the same one I have. Make sure you subscribe using my link at ground.news/Steve. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code when signing up. That's ground.news/Steve. Yeah, I think Britt Hume nailed it there. If you've ever doubted that Donald Trump is the political colossus of our time, this night in this speech should have put that to rest. Doug Schoen, the Democrat pollster, concurred. He wrote that the starkest impact made by Donald Trump's speech to a joint session of Congress was the boldness of his vision and the absolute absence of any alternative from the Democrat Party. And he pointed out how the Democrats resorting to the antics of the signs, of holding up these signs that said falls, save Medicare, protect veterans. I mean, it only underscored for all the nation to see how petty and pitifully absent the Democrats are of any viable alternative to MAGA and the America First agenda. The Democrats literally could not possibly render themselves more irrelevant at the moment, more trivial, more inconsequential than they already have. I mean, seriously, whose idea, I'm serious about this, whose idea was it to have a censorious, old, cranky, rickety man stand up waving his cane and booing the president? How on earth could anyone possibly think this was a good rebranding for the Democrats? I mean, it's so patently absurd. They are absurd. The Democrats couldn't even find it in their cold, dark hearts to stand for the honoring of the family members of the murder victims like Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nungare at the hands of illegal migrants. I mean, their families were there. Their families stood up, and the Democrats are so radicalized. They are so woke fundamentalist that they couldn't even for just a moment show solidarity and empathy with those families. It was beyond telling. The same went for that honoring that 13-year-old boy who was diagnosed with brain cancer 6 years ago. He was given 5 months to live, and he survived. And he has since dreamed of becoming a police officer. And Trump and the new Secret Service director made him an official agent of the United States Secret Service. It was a beautiful moment. The kid hugged the Secret Service director. I mean, it was, and once again, just the Democrats demonstrated themselves completely aloof, completely incapable of sharing in even the most tender and inspirational moments of the evening. If President Trump was deliberately trying to expose to the nation how morally decrepit the Democrats have become, he could not have done a better job. I mean, look at how infirm and feeble and morally debilitated Nancy Pelosi looks as she tries to keep her teeth in her mouth. I'm sorry. I mean, this is a woman who's only going to be remembered historically in infamy, if at all. She's nothing more at this point than the last gasp of a dying, corrupt regime that made hundreds of millions of dollars at the expense of U.S. taxpayers. Just utterly decrepit and disgusting. I liked how our good friend Roseanne Barr put it. I take back what I said USAID was the final nail in the Democrat coffin. Tonight was. Yeah. And by the way, if you want all these articles and tweets and stats that I'm referencing here, just click on the link in the description below, and you can get all of these articles and tweets emailed directly to you. It's a service we love to provide for you, so you have all this data right at the tips of your fingertips. Your tips or your fingertips? Yeah, something like that. When all is said and done, I think the Democrats witnessed nothing less than the world, their own world, officially falling apart last night. The reason they couldn't stand, the reason why they could not honor those certain moments from this epic speech is because the speech was, in effect, the proclamation of their end. Trump highlighted a litany of measures, each of which enjoys a supermajority support: the deportation of illegal migrants who've committed crimes, the undertaking of full-scale efforts to find and eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse, the closing of the southern border, the banning of trans athletes from competing in women's sports, the declaration that there were only two genders, the elimination of all DEI initiatives, the freezing of foreign aid, the imposition of reciprocal tariffs, the mass cutting of government expenditures, and ending bans on oil drilling. Trump's America First agenda is the new supermajority consensus. There's no way around that. Last night made it absolutely clear, both here and abroad. The days of the Democrats have come to an end. The era of MAGA is just beginning.